going to do this time, this is one for the Wood Turners. A square bowl. I'm going to run through how I go about doing these here. Has anybody ever tried one of these? Good man? Good man. Well, I'm going to show you how I go about doing them. Some people do these up into a circle and have sacrificial pieces on them, and then saw the bits off and what have you. I'm going to show you how I do it. I do it slightly differently, so I do. So, one of the things that is important about, there's a few things that's important about this. First of all, your piece of wood, it needs to be relatively square. Relatively square. It doesn't even need to be planed on the both sides. This piece of wood here is roughly planed, it's well planed on one side, roughly planed on the other. As I say, I had to gather up what I had to hand to use to get this show on the road, let's say. So, even the edges of the two edges of it don't really even need to be planed either, because there's so little of it left, and I'm going to show you how I go about tidying the edges up whenever it's finished. So don't worry, if you don't have a planer, thicknesser, you can still make this piece here without it. You don't have to have it, so you don't.
What's the name? What's the name of the item?
Square bowl.
Square bowl.
Square bowl. Square round bowl. Square round curvy bowl. With a lemon oil finish that I forgot to bring with me. So there you are. So now, one of the things that is quite important about it is the amount of curve that you put into this. I have tried them out with less curve, and I'm not that fond of it. I've tried them out with a bit more, and I've found that this curve here works relatively well for me. Now, as far as I remember, that's around about 10 millimeters. Oh my, 3/8 of an inch. But that's what that's around. So, without any further ado, let's get on with trying to get this, because she's kept me 7 minutes late. So now the barbecue is now at 1:07 rather than 1 o'clock. So, anyhow, the easiest way that I find to get a piece of wood into that chuck and get going is to take that piece of wood to the pillar drill, put a 50mm drill into the pillar drill, drop it in, and form a slight recess in the piece of wood. That's the quickest and handiest way that I can find to get any piece of wood into a chuck. So, tighten our chuck up, tighten it up on both sides, and let's get going. So, now, there's my pencil there. So, what we want to do is we want to come 10 millimeters down, and then our wall thickness on the top of it is about 8 millimeters, right? So, we're going to curve that. That's going to be our curve there. Then the other piece is going, so we're going to be running like that. All right? Everybody happy? So what I need to do, very simply, finger mark that right round. And by the way, this is going to be the top of the bowl, this is going to be the bottom of the bowl. Here. Square, round, curvy bowl. You got it all wrote down. So, now, when you're working with square stuff like this, you do need to be careful. You've got a thing here like a saw blade going around. And by the way, is there any of you here from the cross-border chapter? That's good. That's good. For I demonstrated this at the cross-border chapter back on a very, very cold January day. The first Saturday in January, there hadn't been heat in the building for about 3 weeks. It was, you wouldn't have felt sleep in it, let's just say. So anyhow, the whole way, well, let's just tell you, we left Ballymena to drive to Monaghan, and it came on freezing cold. It was about -4, -5 most of the way down, and the fog, the wipers was going, you know, to keep the windscreen clear, and the water was coming around the edge and hitting the wing mirror. And when we got to Monaghan, we had icicles in the wing mirror. That was the temperature outside, and this was a stone building, and there had been no heat on in it for a fortnight. So there we are. So turn speed down to start with, and let's get going. This is for a good light. We don't have a light, no, we don't have a light. So anyhow, there. I have two really good lights at home, and of course I forgot to bring the both of them, so anyhow. Wow, here's a man going to come and sort me out. Thank you very much, sir. Fantastic. We're in business, so they are. So, what makes such a difference at the... So, a bit more speed here. Right, the chisel I'm using here, 5/8 bowl gouge. Yeah. Oh, what way? Oh, sorry. Right, stuck in the line of it. Right, sorry, very, very sorry. So, 5/8 bowl gouge, nice fingernail grind, and I think that's a Hamlet one. I think, or Hamlet or Crown or some of them makes it is. Now, the hardest part of this is the very first, you know, taking the corners off the very first. But once you get into where there's more wood, it tends to get a bit easier for you. So, but what we're wanting to do is I'm wanting to take this here down to the round, right up to that line there. So. Now, just get to the rest end as close as we can once again. things I do want, you see the way here that we've got a little bit of rim in here. I want to leave that about 10 millimetres, that part there as well. That gives you a nice area here on the sides. If you leave that out, right out to the very edge, it makes this too feathery looking, if you know what I mean. Too mean and too wee. So you want and the thing I like about these here is it just adds, if you take an ordinary round bowl, this adds just that element to it. Just, you know, if you set a round bowl beside this, you know, I don't want one time. I just demonstrate every Thursday, it's either every Tuesday or every Thursday, and the mental health units up at home. And there was a girl who used to come in, and she done photography and all that sort of stuff previously. And I had an ash square bowl sitting and an ash round one sitting. She says to me, give me that one every time. And that was somebody who just appreciated, you know, design and what have you. So, unfortunately, it was actually quite a good thing working for a day in the week in that place, but they unfortunately cut the funding for it, so they did, and that was the finish of it. So it all came to quite a sudden end, so it did, you know.
Sorry, could you pass the board around?
Yeah, I might need it from time to time, just, but yeah, pass it round there. And the one thing I do want to do, while I remember, because it's so easy to forget this, is to put a little dimple at the bottom of it. That is very necessary, so it is later on in this. So, right, next to add it again. So, that should be pretty close to the line there. We're getting there now. Take a fraction more of that. Now let's get a look and see where we are at with relation to the square. Oh, we need to go down a bit yet there. Just try and get this in as close just as we can. The 5/8 gives you a bit of good strength, you know, because you're actually hanging, there's quite a bit of downward force there, you know. The 5/8 bow gauge gives you good strength, and then hanging over the further end of the bar. So I know we need to go back and take another cut off there. And that should be me down for near that now. I think, no, I need another. that's just down to near enough the 10 millimetres there, so that is. So, next thing is we want to put the curve in, so we do. So, get two rest up nice and close once again. This time we're going to be cutting against the grain. We have to cut against the grain to get this curve in. I'll show you how to finish that off in a minute or two, so once we get that done. So what we're going to do, we're going to come out here. Now, whenever I say for beginners or for anybody who's new to wood turning, whenever I say I'm cutting against the grain, what I mean by that is the grain is coming this direction here in the piece of wood. And if I want to close the grain, I would start at the centre and work round. But to get the curve into this here, I have to start here and work in. Hence, you see the way it opens up the grain. So that's what I mean when I'm working against the grain. Does everybody understand that? You're all happy enough with that? So, it's when you're working with the grain and it ends up like that you're in trouble somewhere. Now, this cut here takes a fair bit of concentration. You can't rub the bevel at the very start because there's nothing there to rub the bevel on. We're cutting wood. We're cutting a thing called fresh air. So we're cutting wood there. Out here we're cutting fresh air. Back again we're cutting wood, cutting fresh air. It takes you to concentrate doing that. When you get, and all the time while you are cutting wood and fresh air, you are cutting more wood and less fresh air as you go down in until you're cutting wood all the time. So it's a concentrated cut. So are we anywhere near the line at all? Just a wee bit off it, yeah. One more cut, that will do it. So, anchor the chisel. You can't rub the bevel this time, there's nothing to rub the bevel on. You pick up the cut. And there we've got our curve. So it's getting that nice curve there. Now, something has just come to my mind, Joe. Do you remember you and I demonstrating, and you were demonstrating one of these very, very fine, we were in a room that had hardly a window in it, and it had a 40-watt bulb on the roof. The Creevone seminar in what do you call the hotel? Oh, it's just outside, not far from Sligo. The Gateway Hotel in Swinford. And there was this wee bulb here, and every so often they come out of the kitchen there with 2 big plates of dinner, and they went out through the door there, and then they come back with empty plates. Do you remember? Joe, he was turning this lovely picture frame, and the whole thing just went down to about hundreds of pieces, Joe, and the light went with it. And Joe says, good luck to you. I spent the rest of the day turning in the dark. So they were down the street looking for a bulb, And I can tell you in Slumford there's not many places to buy a bulb. But anyway, we got through. That was the last time I seen you with the surgeon's gown on, Joe. So, now, how do we address this problem here? Where are we time-wise? Yes, I think we're all right. So, what I'm going to do is negative rate scraper and draw that out round there to tidy that up. Now, it's because it just takes you to be careful with this, so it does. So, in here, now, I'll just start with the same. You see how, just so you can see, so you see the quality of that poor finish there. You all see that? Yeah, everybody see that? So let's see how we can improve on that. This chisel here is Simon Hope's negative rate scraper. The brilliant thing about this thing is it's about half a ton weight, so it is. And it's nice and solid. So in we go here, into the corner, pick up the top, and draw that out round. Back in again. Now, let's see what we've done here. Now, you see what that does? It's still slightly open here. We could do take a wee bit more of it. There probably will be one corner that we will have to sand behind. That bowl that was going around there was one corner in that bowl that had to be done behind. But it's already a big improvement in the quality of the finish. So, we get the light just in the right place. Now, what have we done or not done? So, you see, you're going to have to address that in there behind, so anyhow, where are we at the finish? So, we'll draw this round to get rid of the back of it, get the back of it done here for you. Now, Now, 56 mil for a set of C drawers. So 56, half of that was 28. Somewhere right there. So that's to get our chop on, so it is. Now, two rests slightly too high there, just drop it down. Now, for my jaws, I don't really need a dovetail for C jaws, but put slightly bit here and there. Not do any harm. So let's get working on the bottom of this. Now when I think, well, we can go slightly smaller than the 56 from memory. That allows me to go down in there. And what I want to do, I want to bring a wee bit of a foot up on it, and then come down. Now, let's get the tool rest closer, get a nice sweep at it, and get the bottom of it finished. So sweep out the bottom of it. I had thought by now some of you would be crying out in despair at the shape I held a chisel to do that. So, see what I'm wanting to do is I'm coming around there, I'm wanting to achieve the same cut roughly as what a skew chisel would do on the outside of that. So if I took a skew chisel and physically could, and by the way, I'm not trying this, but say I was to try and cut that round like that, I would get a lovely finish of that, as you would know. So what I'm trying to do is to try and achieve that cut. And by doing this here, watch this here now. The cut working on the wing of the bowl, the ring of the bowl gouge, look at that. Do you see that, do you? You're all happy with that? You see, the day I bought that bowl gouge, I bought all of it. Whenever I went to Sam Muir at the woodshed to buy that bowl gouge, he didn't say, you'll not use that bit there, and you'll not use that bit there, so I'll drop you off a few quid off it. that didn't happen, said there. I paid for every single millimetre of that, and I'm going to use every millimetre of it. All right? So, once again, just to show you that cut, right there, the handle will down here, and I'm just slicing it round there the way that a skew would cut round that and get the same sort of shavings of it. Now, problem is, you see down at the very bottom of that, down at the very bottom of that, there's a wee area in there that's very, very hard to get your bowl down just exactly where you want it. And it's been a wee bit of a thing that I was thinking about. So how would you go about getting a surface finish for us wood turners is what we want. We want the best surface finish before we start sanding. So this wee bit down in here, we want to just refine that surface. So here we have this thing here, made by myself, thought by myself. Now, pay attention to the shavings that's coming off it. So, I think we could work with that surface if we could. So what have we? What have we? We've got a negative rake scraper.
Down a bit.
Oh, sorry, down a bit, right. So we've got, sorry?
Forward.
Forward.
Here.
We've got a negative rake scraper, right? It's a round bar, so we've got a negative rake shear scraper. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
Follow me. Negative rake shear scraper. And I think the surface finish of that there, most of us can sand it up to a nice finish. All right? So, all happy?
Yeah.
All good, right. So, what I need to do is give us a quick sand here. Time our way. We're just tight, going to be tight enough for time, but anyway. Quickly. Quick sand. Now, when it comes to sanding, you see these square edges here? Please be careful. Please pay attention when you go to sanding. Please think about what you're going to do before you do it, right? So what we want to do is, we don't want the sandpaper, we don't want that square edge coming down and hitting like that, down on that. We want the sandpaper to be like that. Then, because this is going to give us a pull down, we want the second hand on the drill, right? So we want it tucked in, 3 points of contact. 1, 2, 3. All right? Let's see what we can do. And please, nice and gently, not heavy-handed.
Harry, what weight is that?
120. That's a wee bit of 120, just to see if I can get rid of that torn grain. So a wee bit of work to do there. And close. So we have a wee tiny bit there that we could do that with it. You can take your, what to do that? Have a sandpaper block somewhere. You can take it, you can sand it. You know how you sand that up without me telling you. So that's that one. I had so much sandpaper and so many discs all in the drawer at home, and oh dear, what a mess, and what a handle, and you want to do that. So all right. You know how to sand up the bottom of the hole, so you do. So, thank you, thanks you. I'd be lost without him, so I would. The two of us live about a mile apart, so we do. So we travel to all the different events together. I used to work in college, and Hugh came to the hobbies class to try and learn about the wood turning, and he ended up having me as his teacher. So they had the teacher in the class. I only done the technician work. The teacher in the class didn't know the first thing about wood turning, so Hugh ended up with me. Many years ago was that, Hugh? we're still good friends and nothing about together, so we are. So, now, just fix this up here, Reese, we that. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. So pop that off. And just to save time, change the chop over for I have the seed jaws and the other chop. There we are. Sorry? I may or may not need a cue, so we'll see how we go. So, just make sure it's nicely seated and make sure it's tight. Now, an ash, you can tighten that up well. If this was a piece of pine, I wouldn't. You want a better dovetail, so you want something more substantial. So now this is where I could do maybe with my light moved, and maybe move the light round to here. Oh, there shows it. I know we can move the headstock of this laser round, which we may do in a minute or two. But that might affect your camera, will it? No, it's not right. So, anyhow. So, any questions before we start this part here? Anything at all? No? We're all happy. I need that light. The idea, I need to move it back. Ideally where you need the light shining straight right down through there so that you can see what you're doing. I know this might be in your way for a second or two. Is that going to be okay there? I can now see what I'm doing, so I can. Now, the next thing is, the next little bit of a difficulty is that we have to overcome is we want to get this, you see the way we've got about 8-10 millimeters here, we want that to be consistent the whole way right through. So it takes a wee bit of concentration just to do that. So back out again, right out of the top, pick up. Let's just see where we are. I think I have more to take off. I'm pretty sure I have, yeah. It's okay. So once again, back out the cut, right to the very edge. will probably be there. When you're standing looking at us here, it's just hard to judge because actually as I'm standing here, I'm seeing about, you see there, I'm seeing about 15 millimetres or, well, 12 millimetres. And yet with all, I'm getting close to it. So. So, let's see where we are. We're getting pretty close now. So we've got 8 mil there, we've got 9.5 there. One more should sort that out. So, that's looking fairly near it now. 8. We're pretty close to that. So, when you go to start there, your chisel wants to bounce here. It's a hard cut to learn. It is. The easiest way I find is what I do when I get it going and get pretty close to a finish. Pick up the bevel there. Just rub the bevel gently, move back, and then come in. Watch the top. And the whole secret is not too much bevel pressure. Don't rub your bevel too hard. So now, fairly happy with that. I think we're fairly close to what we should be there now. So, it's maybe a millimetre heavy in the middle. That's fine. So. So that's this part here done, and we're now going to take out the centre of it. So we can move our light back down there again and that will help us see what we're doing. So, that's good. On ahead. Do you mind if I turn this headstock slightly? That won't affect you, you know? Just pull this. Is there a pin, or what am I doing wrong? I want to turn the headstock, so. Don't worry. We'll carry it on the way we are. Don't worry. Right. That's all right. weight. There's another name for this, bowl with wings. So, the one thing I stepped out of the workshop without was the calipers for the bowl caliper. But I'm not worried about that. I left a pencil down somewhere now, I lost it too, but anyway, we'll get on without it. So we have to just basically finger gauge this here, so we will. So, sorry?
You don't bother filling a depth hole first now?
Oh, sorry, who was asking that
You
question?
don't bother doing a depth hole?
No, fine. We'll just gauge it around, so we'll be pretty close to it, so now, we're coming to somewhere right there, so that's that. Of course, I should say, if you feel you want to put a depth hole into it, that's 100% fine. It's just experience you end up not doing. So, where are we thickness wise? Maybe slightly. Now, one thing I should have said, see, whenever I'm starting there, I do this unconsciously, so I do it subconsciously. Whenever I'm starting there, I'm starting to watch my body movement as I come round. You see, watch as I do that. So pick out the cup there. So get your feet in the right place. The last thing you want to do when you're turning there is have to take a step. You don't want to do that, so just remove a lot of that. said he. Yeah. Just get to the rest a wee bit closer here, so well. Now, when you're turning these, remember these things here, you wouldn't put your hand to the teeth of a saw blade, but you know, you're coming pretty close to this thing here, so that thing's just going around there just like a saw blade the most of the time, so keep the hands well back. That's basically the so where we are now. You see me looking up all the time there. Usually you don't know what it is. I can see from here, they can't get the barbecue tonight, so we're in trouble. So, there's no smoke out there at all. So, did anybody bring a packed lunch? Now, the secret is in these here, just the same as an ordinary bowl. You want to, no bumps in the bottom, so there's one wee tiny cut around the bottom of it just to tie it up. I think that will stand up the best. So, now, that goes over there.
Just wondering about the
Yes.
the gouge heating, you know, the gouge, the friction, how hot
How hard?
with the gouge getting?
I can still hold my hand on it. It's all about and you don't want a heavy touch at the lathe. How would I put it? One of the nicest wood turners I think I ever watched was Carolyn Lindsay. Has any of you ever seen her work? She does that like laminated with black and white, black stripes in it, you know. And she done a thing there recently. It was for the crowning of the king. And she made an orb. Look, it was well worth looking up, so it is. Her work is amazing. And I've watched her, and she has the lightest touch of a lathe ever you see. She literally just the chisel just glides, it does. And you don't, like I can hold my hand to that, you don't want to be putting massive amounts of pressure in that. So I remember an engineer telling me one time there's something wrong with a machine or a piece of steel. In engineering terms, this was an engineering term, if you can't hold your handle, it's too warm, there's something wrong, so there is. So I can hold my hand to that there. So does that answer your question? So,
David, what did you say that woman's name was?
Carlin Lindsay.
Carolyn Lindsay.
Carlin, it's C-A-R-L-Y-N, Carlin Lindsay.
Carolyn Lindsay.
Yeah, she's actually one of the top ones now in this here. She's not the sec. She's either the chairperson or the secretary of the RPT at the minute, so she is. So anyhow. Now, once again, 3 points of contact, tuck the drill in, and actually, well, I'll just, hopefully it'll be alright. If you go about this wrong here, what you're going to do is, you're going to round the edges over. So if you really need to keep this, you still want clearance at the top there. You don't want your sandpaper to come in contact like that there. You want clearance at the top, but it's hitting it right that you're not rounding over the edges. I'll just, for this part here, I'll take it out. It makes it harder when it's in the holder. I had an extension holder on there. I'll just take it out for sanding this. How does that look? So that tidies that up. That's that. No smoke yet.
Must be walking down like it's not so.
Pardon?
Must be walking down too.
No, I would say that they fit all right. Aside to the not charcoal. I think it's a gas barbecue from a same time as a gas out there.
What finish do you put under?
First, that one there is done with lemon oil. I think they call it, is the right name for it, grass seed lemon oil. Lemongrass oil, maybe that's the name of it. But sorry?
Lemongrass oil used in lemon cooking.
It's a totally natural product. So that if you really wanted to use that for some sort of food stuff or something, it's food safe. And it leaves a lovely matte finish on it too. So I've been using lemongrass oil. And I tell you the other thing about it, you set that into a room, there's a lovely aroma off it, so there is. So lemongrass oil. So
Nothing else, Dave, just the oil, that's it.
just the oil. Yeah. See, if you look at it, it's finished, sanded up to a really nice finish. It's a good solid timber. You know, it's going to take a good finish just with very minimal efforts in it. So, right, we've got roughly half an hour to get this thing finished. So we have a wee bit of work to do to it. So, some essential lubrication before my throat dries up altogether. So, Chucky. Sorry, no. Now, set that there, second. We'll just spin this chuck off here and put the other one for it's the one I need. Any questions so far? Especially if somebody has one question. Because I know what these will all do. Whenever it comes to lunchtime, we all walk around here and David. So there's bound to be one person has a question. This chuck here, that's an Axminster chuck. That's, what do they call it now, an SK100 or something or other. They call it the super precision chuck whenever I've been using one of those chucks. When I started in 1986, do you remember the old Craft Supplies super precision thing with elastic bands and all them bits of things? Oh dear. There was nothing else. There was really nothing else. There was an engineer's chuck, a 3-jaw chuck or that, and then Axminster brought these out with 4-jaw engineered chuck really. But then they started to add all the other jaws for wood turning, and I thought, that's what I need. I came probably, I remember coming down to one of the very first national seminars that I ever attended was held in a university in the north side of Dublin. Mick O'Donnell was there, Christy Glynn was there, who else? There was, I could be wrong, was David Ellsworth actually there?
No, Dave Nish.
Dale Nish, And then there was another man there as well. He used to make these like shell type of things. I forget his name now, but that was the very first bit, and I think Axminster was there then, was with those chucks at that time. And I said to myself, I need one of those. Now the chuck.
Tell us what sanding system you're using.
Sanding system is very simple. That's basically Simon Hope's sanding system. Just your ordinary Velcro, they just peel off. So that blue sandpaper that you see me using there is from Glen Lucas. Blue sandpaper that Glen Lucas does is probably some of the best cotton sandpaper there is.
You find it good?
Yeah. I've had no problems with it whatsoever.
Stop the needle.
Never.
Find big round bags under this.
I'm not telling you when you said that. So, anyhow, right. So, finishing off the bottom of it. I believe in keeping things nice and simple. So, this is one I used previously. So, what we're doing is going to put that one there. Just want to check. That should fit reasonably well. It's basically a disc of soft tulip wood. So that's a lot softer than the ash is. So that shouldn't mark shouldn't mark at all. So thruster points are lined up very well. They should have had that checked at tea break. Now, Turn your speed down. Turn your speed down and start. If the 2 points aren't in line, that's what you get that noise. So we'll bear with it for we are almost out of time, so we are. And maybe just bring the tail strap back the least wee bit to give me a wee bit more space in there.
Sounds like my back.
Right, well bear with it anyway, so a small gold gouge, and we're just going to gently, now remember, the only thing that we have there is that least wee point. Give me a second and we'll try and fix that. I've just remembered the way to fix it. If we put the least wee layer of tissue paper in there, it should take that away. If it's lined up correctly, it doesn't do that, so it doesn't. But we haven't time to go to the bother of taking that off, checking points and putting the whole thing all back on again. So we'll work with it, we'll bear with it. Sorry. So tail strap all tightened up. Bring a wee bit of speed up. Now, what you have to remember is that this is only a friction drive, so we're totally dependent on friction to drive it, and if you can get a wee bit of slip if you are too aggressive at the pedal. Where are the timelines? Now, snake. Oh.
David,
Uh-huh.
in the course of doing a job like this at home, would you sharpen your chisels often, or would you work the way you're working now?
Pretty much starting at the start, whenever I go to turn something like this here, and work the most of the way through. Now, one exception. If I'm working on American white oak, you'll be sharpening every minute or two, so you will. And there's no way around it. It's whatever's in American white oak. It is absolutely awful stuff, so it is. Your continental, your European oak, and what have you like that there, you'll get away with probably going right through a whole bowl like that there, but apart from that, no, pretty much try and work the whole way through. So, one of the things I have 2 days at home, the 3 days at home. I've a Wood Turners, which was built in 1954. It's far older than me. It's an absolutely fantastic lathe to work on. Absolutely brilliant lathe to work on. Big, heavy cast iron headstock. A monster of the big things. As Kieran Forbes used to describe them as a big old tractor of a lathe, and they are probably as heavy as a tractor. I also have a Vicmark VL300, so if I'm turning my hand and it fits onto that Vicmark at all, I use it, and it has one of the knee stops. And he took that thing, even I seen me overworking at my watering lathe and saying, you know, kicking away at the thing and that not stopping, you know, you just can't get away working with it, so you do. So, how are you getting on, Pat? Did you get lit? You've got lit. That's good. I'm not smelling it and burning yet, so that's a good sign too. 5 minutes and we'll be finished. So, I told you we had to work on the edges up. So how do we finish up these edges? Well, it's not that terribly hard if I could find the thing I'm looking for. Here, what did I do with it? The aluminium disc. It's like you're sitting looking at it or something. Here, the hook disc. Oh, sorry. Dog with that. So, what we have here is one of, I'm sure you've all seen them, Simon Hope's sandal disc, Velcro disc, absolutely invaluable. I forget, them things aren't terribly dear to that, but absolutely invaluable to me. Use that thing for a lot of things to do. So, speed down. And if you don't have a planer thicknesser, all you have to do draw that up across it there. And there you have that finished. And so what I'm doing here is I'm looking through there. I see the angle that's on the edge of the hole there. Holding it with my 2 hands. There we have it. With that side done, the 2 ends need very little sanding because they were cut nicely and the chops off. That off, go for a 240 grit disc on here. There I am, look, kicking the thing again, but not there. Now, with that done, For convenience sake, I'll remove the most of this. That, and then now, there you have your square bowl. Folks, just before Pat starts, thanks very much for having me. I probably won't get a chance to speak to you again, or maybe we'll individually, but all together. Many thanks for having me. It was a quick, hurried, arranged demo. We've done our best, and I trust that you all have gone home this morning having learned some wee thing. If you only learned some wee thing, I trust you have, and I trust you've enjoyed it. Okay.